Hello and welcome to Fresh Face Comics, the comic book podcast for a lifelong comic book reader guides his friend through the world of comics for the first time. My name is Joey Morgan, the aforementioned lifelong reader. With me, as always, is Jacob Licklider, the aforementioned newbie.
Hulk's a mean green mother from outer space, and he's bad.
Nice! Oh, I'm so happy. That's what we went with. Lovely. And joining us to talk about our very first time discussing actual Incredible Hulk comics, like he's the actual star in it, is our good friend, friend of the podcast, Mason.
Hi everyone. I don't have a Hulk joke. But
That's all right.
I'm here.
That's fine. That's all good. We're here. We're having fun. Today, we're talking about the Incredible Hulk, Planet Hulk Prelude. It's a weird title to say out loud. It's the prelude to Planet Hulk. You know, Planet Hulk, that famous Hulk story. This is not that story. This is the prelude to that story. It makes
next
sense.
time we're doing that story.
Next time we are doing that story, Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
So that'll be happening next time. So, but today we're talking about 7 issues in particular that the publishers at Marvel felt properly set up Planet Hulk. These are Fantastic Four number 533 to 535, and the Incredible Hulk number 88 to 91. So we're going to get into that today. But I guess kicking off our non-spoiler section, Mason, what is the Prelude to Planet Hulk about?
So the Prelude to Planet Hulk, so I know little about the Planet Hulk story, but from what I can tell from this, this is the comic that basically builds the tension that, like throughout the course of the issues, we see Hulk interacting with both like the Fantastic Four, and then later on we see him in like his own issues with like Nick Fury, who pops up. And basically, the entire story of this prelude is the slow build up and tension that like eventually leads into the event that starts Planet Hulk, I think.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So what is really nice about this is like some comic preludes are kind of weird, where they'll call something a prelude to a big event, and it's just like you could kind of see how it fits. But this literally ends on the inciting incident of Planet Hulk, which is really nice. So we'll be properly getting into that more next time. But yeah, it's a prelude, and yeah, like you're right. Like it's basically here to like set up more of the tension and why Planet Hulk happens. Jacob, how did you find the build up to this event?
Well, I found it kind of weird because, okay, so like really, I'd argue the only, as far as I know now, I haven't started Planet Hulk, which, spoiler alert, we're doing Planet Hulk next time. I don't think.
I think we said that like I think we said like 3 times now, haven't we?
Yeah,
and also I'll be there. I think I'll be there as well.
You should be there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So it feels like they realized, like, we have 4 issues of the Incredible Hulk that are really act as a prelude, but we also don't want to publish a trade that's just 4 issues.
Mm-hmm. And so they include Fantastic Four here.
Yes.
Which isn't really quite the prelude you would expect it to be. They're still good issues, but they really only have like 1 scene in it that works to build up Planet Hulk.
That's interesting, but also like it's the odd thing of I found these 3 issues that are basically here for padding to be the highlight. Like
I do prefer the Fantastic Four issues personally.
I think it's like. And it's not because like the actual Incredible Hulk issues are bad. Like far from it, they're pretty good. They just suffer from the problem of we have an event coming up, and this book is getting a big writing team shakeup and a big art team shakeup. Like
and the upcoming like team, it is only one event that the team sticks around for, but it's a long event. It published over the course of over a year. So there's a lot going into it. There's a lot to set up, but at the same time, because there's a lot to set up, you simultaneously they kind of can't set up much either, because it's a very simple premise, really, for Planet Hulk. That of course we'll get into when we talk about spoilers. But I must say, Jacob, I didn't realize what I would end up doing with this book was that through the random guest appearances of certain characters that we've had in the books leading up to this, there were a couple that you weren't a big fan of. That that are like
Yeah.
big Marvel staples. I didn't realize my plan here would be twofold in that I guess you kind of came out of this liking the Hulk and the Fantastic Four much more than you did before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helps that this time none of these characters are being written by Stan Lee.
That's true. That's true.
Um, and they're allowed to be characters. I will say this is one that you've all like basically through all like for both books, for the Fantastic Four issues and the Incredible Hulk issues. It does feel like we're coming in partway through a story. And,
definitely.
and that's just like
Yeah.
normal comic book things.
Mm-hmm.
That you kind of have to just deal with and realize. And it's like it's not a bad thing, but it's fine. It's fine.
I will say,
I really hope the event that follows this is worth it, because like I'm intrigued, but I'm not like I'm not getting the yes, this was amazing and I need to continue.
Understandable. I could see somebody just starting with Planet Hulk as a story. I think the Prelude works and also just has some really nice individual issues and smaller little character pieces in there that work.
It also gives us a shorter book after quite a few.
Yeah, we had some long ones.
Books. We've had some long ones recently. Like I think
last 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our last shorter one was the first volume of X-Men.
And even then, that included at least
giant size X-Men number 1.
Size. Yeah. And then before that, our last short one was Hellblazer and Swamp Thing.
No, Hellblazer wasn't short.
That
was a lot of issues. Are you thinking of Sandman?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Sandman. The point being, Fresh Face Comics has done.
We've done a lot.
We've done a lot.
Which Mason was also on the Sandman one. You guys should check that out. Yeah, Marcus, our good friend Marcus. Actually, bring this back to Mason. I think this is like the most sort of normal comic book thing you've read, because you had All-Star Superman in the past, which was its own event sort of comic. You had Green Lantern Secret Origin, which was very much a this could be any new comic book reader's first Green Lantern story. But this is probably the first time you're experiencing this thing that Jacob has gone through a lot, where it's just like, if you're starting not from like number 1 or from the very beginning of something, like odds are you're carrying some baggage from some previous run on a comic book, which is very much what kind of happens here throughout. I was wondering how you found that as someone that doesn't read comics regularly.
Yeah, it was like going through this comic, I could definitely tell that like I was starting in the middle of something, because like Hulk is like, I mean, granted, I don't know how much his design is always like this, but like he's like balding. And also he seems to have like the Bruce Banner and Hulk like personas at least at the start seem to be a bit more like I guess together, or like I guess more like at ease with each other.
Control.
And so and like I could definitely tell from like that I'd been missing stuff. And there's like also little moments throughout like the specifically like the Fantastic Four issues where like I'm assuming they're referencing stuff that I just don't know about. But like, I mean, part of it might be because like I did grow up on the MCU, so like a lot of the characters in this, and also like just Marvel movies in general. So like I already kind of knew most everyone that was like presented here, and like the plot points and characters that I didn't know, I was just like, oh, it was probably like in a comic that I just haven't read already, and like it didn't like, I guess, confuse me too much going through it. I think that the comics that I read here, they do a good job of like being a part of a larger story, but also not being like an aggressively like, oh, this is issue 528, so you need to read 527 issues previously. Like, I didn't get that sort of vibe from it.
A lot of times comics will like do a good job of like catching up pretty quickly, and if nothing else, reading more and more, you just kind of learn to take it on the chin, and you're just like, okay, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. But yeah, I'm glad it wasn't like too hard to access for you when reading it, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right, shall I get into some Twitter questions?
Yes.
Let's begin actually on a Discord question from our friend Andrew, good friend of the podcast. Andrew says, should the story have been adapted into the MCU? Well,
I mean,
there's
the vibes of it are in the MCU because like there's a similar thing that happens in this comic that does happen in the MCU. Like
there's
I mean like the context is different because in the MCU it's more so like a aw, but like in the comic it's like, oh, what the fuck, like, so there's like a difference there, but you know.
It's like one could argue they did kind of try to adapt Planet Hulk. I don't think they succeeded.
I have been told that Thor Ragnarok is at least a partial adaptation.
I forget. Have you not seen Ragnarok?
Nope.
You lucky soul. I know a lot of people love Ragnarok, and I fully respect that.
I love Ragnarok.
I respect your opinion. But God, I hate that fucking movie, dude.
I think we've had this conversation.
I know. Oh man.
I feel like I will say, like, from what I'm aware, I feel like the MCU does occasionally have the issue of like, it's like the combination of one great superhero movie with like another really bad superhero movie. So like for Thor Ragnarok, it's like a really good Thor movie mashed with like a really bad Incredible Hulk movie.
Yeah, like, I can kind of understand that. Yeah.
I mean, we may be opening a can of worms here, but with my limited experience of these 7 issues, I don't really think the MCU always does a good job of portraying the Hulk.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't know. Not that the Hulk can't be a very funny character. There are some very funny bits in this. But like,
oh yeah,
it seems after Age of Ultron, it kind of just became a joke character.
It's kind of funny because actually I think because his first appearance in the MCU after Age of Ultron is Ragnarok, which I find it kind of funny that you haven't seen then. But I think you're mostly talking about what, Endgame, right?
Endgame and Infinity War.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was really like a comedic.
Oh, and She-Hulk, because I've seen about a third or maybe half of She-Hulk.
You know what's funny is She-Hulk actually ends on like kind of a joke that feeds into the fact that the MCU might be doing some more Planet Hulk related things.
Oh.
Yeah, anyway, moving on. Andrew's second question is, do you have any plans on watching the 2010 animated movie? There's a 2010 animated movie called Planet Hulk. I've never seen it, but I imagine we'll watch it next time. We can do that, definitely. Yeah, I think we can do that.
I have it written down here on the schedule that we will be doing.
We were also supposed to do some adapted material this time for your first actual Hulk comic, but obviously we ran short on time a little bit, so it's all good. It's all good.
I mean, this also isn't your typical Hulk story.
Plenty of room in the future.
Like this story is like aggressively a prelude, so I feel like it'd be weird to like have a
also watch Hulk 2003 or one of the movies with what's his face.
There are two big like modern Hulk adaptations. There's the 2003 one, and then there's Incredible Hulk from 2008. It's been a long time since I watched 03 though.
I feel like this is a slightly like hot take, but I really like the Edward Norton Hulk movie. I think it's
it's fucking awesome. Yeah, I love that one.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
seen either.
It makes me happy that like I'm
the Hulk as a character I was not really familiar with.
What was that, Mason? Though
I was gonna say I'm happy that I'm like finally among one person who also likes that movie, because I feel like it's like everyone's like second least favorite MCU movie behind like Thor: The Dark World.
See, and like Thor: The Dark World, like I prefer Thor: The Dark World over the last 2 Thor movies personally. You know, it's not completely terrible. I defend it in certain aspects. It does miserably waste Christopher Eccleston, but that's beside the point. But and I love Incredible Hulk 08. I think it's fucking awesome. One of the more like unique MCU films. Anyway, on to actual Twitter things. Before actual Twitter things, we started putting our Q&As up on Blue Sky. So if you have fled the clutches of Elon Musk, you can find us on Blue Sky. I think it's our same @ as on Twitter, but
yours is different.
is mine different?
Yours
Oh shit, that's right. That's right. Mine is mine is a little different because I guess Jomo with 3 underscores was taken on Blue Sky somehow. So my ad on Blue Sky is at Jomo Blood Donut, and every Blue Sky at ends with .bsky.social. It's fucking stupid. But overall, we're there, and
all 3 of us are there. You can find us.
Yeah, I think Mason hasn't followed me back yet. What a little bitch.
I'm very sorry.
You haven't yet. Anyway, so what I was going to say, though, is, we got a question on there from our friend Sean Franco at seanfranco.bsky.social. Says, how do you think the Hulk works best as a character? Hero, villain, anti-hero, or banner?
Feel ill-equipped to answer this question.
Just based off what you read. Slash already know about the character.
Maybe anti-hero, maybe, I don't know. I can see villainous Hulk working, though, and I could see heroic Hulk working. But I feel like maybe probably the most potential is exploring Bruce Banner as a character.
See, that's interesting. Is between those options, like I feel like I could kind of take any at any given time. But Banner is probably the one that I'm kind of least interested in. I like seeing Banner when he's kind of trapped inside the Hulk, and trying to like break out in a way. But I don't think I don't know. I don't think I'm interested in just Banner as a character. Whereas like any of those, I could, I think Hulk can wear any different hat at any different time, and I love seeing when different writers portray him in different ways. So, Mason.
So, what were the 4 options again? I'm sorry.
Hero, villain, anti-hero, and banner.
I think it's interesting. I think I'm going to kind of say what you say, and like any of them at any given point, because I think it's interesting how the Hulk is different depending on like who in universe you ask. Because like I would imagine that like Banner is probably, at least from what I've seen, like he probably doesn't like the Hulk very much. But like in the context of like someone who may have been like saved because the Hulk like beat up a villain or something, like it's a hero to that person. And then like how does the Hulk see themselves? And like I think that, I guess similar to Jacob, I feel a little ill-equipped to answer this, but I do think that it's interesting to like, I guess, have it depend on who like have it depend on which perspective we're looking at.
Understandable. Let's see. Now we're going to actual Twitter. Let's see. Our first couple of questions from here come from our friend Kian at Kian the Quark. Says, which Hulk would you most like to smash?
I'm not going to answer that question because I've only really experienced one of, maybe 2 of them.
So yeah, like, are we talking like actors or like the?
I don't know. Kian does
or...
this thing where he like kind of drops questions on us and doesn't really elaborate. So I feel like interpret that however you want.
I'm gonna say pass.
Fair enough. Lou Ferrigno. All right. Kian's second question says, in your personal opinion, is the Hulk the most flanderized MCU character? Oof. What a question. Kian the Quark asking the hard ones.
So even in terms of internal MCU logic, I'd argue if there's another character who is equally flanderized, and that's Thor.
Ooh, see, I don't agree with that.
At least based on the MCU that I have seen, remember that there's a large chunks of it that I also
I even say this as someone that is not a fan of the Taika Waititi Thor films. I think even through those films, Thor is not a flanderized MCU character. Personally.
So like I've like of the MCU stuff I've seen, I've mainly just seen like the Infinity Saga stuff. I've only seen like 1 or 2 like Phase 4 movies. Not out of like disinterest. I just haven't gotten around to them yet because I do genuinely want to like get into those stuff.
There's some really great multiverse saga stuff.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to like certain movies. But like I don't know if I would use the term flanderized for any of them. I just think that like maybe for what their characters were meant to do in certain movies, maybe their like personality shifted a bit too much. but like I don't think any of them became like overly concentrated, I guess.
That's understandable. Yeah, I'm not sure if flanderized is quite the right word for it in general. Because that implies that like they've sort of only been boiled down to their most obnoxious traits. I don't know. I'm not sure if I here's the thing. I think the answer is no to that specific question, but I could probably open that up, to a much larger MCU conversation that clearly we're not here to talk about today. We're here to talk comics. So put a pin in that one. Our next question comes from our friend Jamie at Jamie_season7 says, based on who one of the authors is, you should read One More Day next. So I gotta jump over to my DMs from Jacob Licklider today.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Who was finishing this book earlier today. I'll explain in a moment, Mason.
Okay, thank you.
Jacob was finishing this book earlier today and says, halfway through Planet Hulk Prelude, the Fantastic Four issues were great, enough to make me curious about J. Michael Straczynski's actual run and more of his work. So, Jamie,
yes, I'm going to stand by that, even though I know exactly
Jacob's
what
answer to this is yes. So, Mason,
look, listen. Mason, One More Day is a very famous Spider-Man story where Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil instead of his soul.
I've heard about this.
He loses his marriage, and I don't blame JMS for that. Apparently, Joe Quesada was co-writing, so no, I just want to read more of stuff by JMS.
Okay,
I mean, I'll read that.
I know Brian really likes Straczynski.
Yeah, he does.
Tell you what, we'll do it on the podcast, but Jacob, you can sit it out. I'll go for it.
There we go.
I mean, I'll be there for it.
You just won't enjoy it.
I just won't enjoy it. I mean, it can't be any worse than Dark Knight Strikes Again.
I suppose, but I think there are worse comics than Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Oh, there are, but I don't think we'll get those for a while.
Fair enough.
You gotta have me on for like a really bad comic one of these days. I feel like all the ones I've been on have been like at least mostly good.
Yeah. We gotta get you on some shit ones.
I mean, we also haven't done many outright bad comics.
That's true. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, our next questions come from our friend. Our next question comes from our friend English Giraffe at English_Giraffe. Says Hulk is probably the Marvel hero that has gone through the most different types of subgenres: horror, space, time travel, sci-fi, action, character study. Which do you think is best suited for Hulk, and would you classify him as a hero or a destructive force?
So, I would love to see Hulk in a horror setting. And I would love to see more of the destructive force. And it seems, especially oddly enough, with all the issues here, both Straczynski and then Daniel Way, who writes the actual Incredible Hulk issues, he is kind of a destructive force. Or he, like, even when he's intelligent, he becomes kind of a destructive force.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like you could do some like nuclear holocaust type horror with the Hulk. That could be fantastic if done well. Yeah.
Cool.
And I'd love to see that.
Mason, any thoughts on that question?
Yeah, like again, I haven't had a ton of experience of like Hulk stories, but like of the ones that like most interest me as a genre, like I think that either horror or character study are the ones that I would most want to like experience with the Hulk, because I think that like I love the Hulk as like a weird mashup of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and then also Frankenstein's monster. Like I feel like there's like there's like interesting avenues to tell like either kind of like horrifying story through the lens of like a Hulk, I guess, storyline.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if I had to pick one, it would either be like the character study or the horror. But like I'm down for honestly any of them, because I love a character that can be that can have good stories in basically any genre.
Cool. Well, sorry guys, I chose sci-fi.
Damn. Ew,
well,
you like
anyway.
sci-fi? Gross. How could you?
I know, very cringe of me. But no, yeah. It's and also on the end of that, I think we sort of answered that with the question of like what Hulk best fits as a character. But yeah, I mean, I guess destructive force wasn't really thrown into that list of things, which is obviously one of the most interesting ways to take the character, in my opinion. But anyway, our next set of questions come from our friend Kira at Kira B Writing, friend of the podcast. Says number one,
and past guest of the podcast.
Yes, yeah. When I say friend of the podcast, I mean past guest mostly.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. So when I say I think when I say just friend, that's just someone we're acquainted with. But friend of the podcast is guest.
Is how we're denoting guests.
That's how I've always kind of assumed it in my head, but I never really said it out loud until now. And now that I say it out loud, it sounds kind of weird. Fuck it. Anyway, her first question goes: what were each of your perceptions of the Hulk before going into these comics? As someone who's been a big fan of the character since I was little, I'd love to get to know each of your perspectives as people who have tended to be bigger fans of other characters.
So with the Hulk, I think I kind of said this before. I really like the Edward Norton movie, and then I'm sure I've seen the 2003 one once or twice growing up, but I genuinely don't remember anything about it. And then from there, I know him from I think one of the animated superhero shows from back in the day. I forget which one. And then I mean, growing up on the MCU, I saw him there a lot. And from all those, the Hulk was a very interesting character, and Bruce Banner was a very interesting hero for me to watch unfold as the movies and all this different stuff went on. So, but from this comic, I definitely have more of a, I guess, interest in the character.
It does kind of suck because because Hulk always gets kind of stuck up in these really weird rights issues when it comes to adapted material. So a lot of Hulk fans mostly only have to go on comics, which is why Hulk has such a big comic actual fan base, which is cool. But yeah, he kind of gets screwed over a lot with adapted material. The fact that there's so little is a shame, and I wish there was more because it would just be cool for more fans to know him. Anyway, Jacob, what were your perceptions of the Hulk before reading that?
Okay, so I already knew that this was Kira's favorite character. She's made that known multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have really only experienced him in a couple of MCU projects, largely played by Mark Ruffalo, who was a good actor, but not often given the best material to work with.
I mean, his best performance as Hulk is in the first Avengers movie, and then he doesn't get much beyond that.
Yeah,
truly, the MCU version of the Hulk has never gotten better than the "put a bullet in my head and the other guy spit it out" scene. That's the fucking best scene, and then it just kind of stopped there.
And I wish we could blame Joss Whedon for that, but
that is Joss Whedon.
But Joss Whedon gave us good Hulk content.
Yeah.
And then he didn't.
Yeah, it balances out.
But yeah, I also I find the idea of the character interesting.
At this point in the podcast, I could just play a clip show of all of your rantings in his guest appearances before this on the podcast.
Yeah, do it! I dare you!
I will not because I'm too lazy to do that. But just imagine that I did.
But
wow,
I
what a
have
great
also
montage.
only experienced the
a great
character
montage.
at his worst.
Yeah.
And
I mean, his Daredevil appearance is good.
His Daredevil appearance is quite good. But he is also a guest in that, and so he's not really the focus.
Yeah.
Which
his Spider-Man appearance is god awful. So.
Why? I mean, it's nice to have at least one Marvel character who's not just in New York,
all
my
the time.
God. The Marvel universe has the problem. It's kind of a problem of just being New York City.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
That's all it is.
All three of our books have taken place before this. All three of our blocks have taken place primarily in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to get away and go to other places.
Yeah. Let's see. So her second question then says, for Joey and Mason, and I'm going to include you in this as well, Jacob, even though I know she clarifies later on. Were you both aware that before the MCU, the Hulk was one of the three most popular Marvel heroes at the time, the other two being Wolverine and Spider-Man? I find it fascinating how much that lineup changed after the first Iron Man. The last question isn't aimed at Jacob because I brought it up to him before. But I will say, Kira, for your information, I grew up in that goddamn era. When I was a kid, those were my three favorite Marvel characters: were Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk, because they were fucking everywhere. Yeah, fucking loved them. I grew up on that shit. I loved it. Mason, how about you?
Yeah, there's the live action Incredible Hulk show, and I've never watched it, but like I grew up knowing about it. I actually met Lou Ferrigno at a Comic-Con like a few years ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he and my stepmom went to go meet him, and because she was a big fan, and my stepmom is from South America, and she was saying like, oh yeah, like we loved watching your show in Chile, and then he had no idea what Chile was. So like, she had to like explain what the country was. Which I mean, yeah, like whatever. But other than that, like, yeah, I've like been aware of like the Hulk, I guess, growing up. I never really got into Hulk stuff. I was definitely more of like a Wolverine and Spider-Man kid. But like, I was definitely aware of it. I just wasn't in that like, I guess, zeitgeist.
Fair enough. I know. I'm glad you brought that up. Actually, the show, because I remember my dad had me watch the old Lou Ferrigno show when I was a kid, because I loved Hulk, mostly because I'm gonna be honest, I loved him as a kid because I was a little fucking kid. He was green. My favorite color was green. I fucking loved the Hulk. Of course I did. I had one of the big like character encyclopedias for the Hulk because I fucking love the guy and he's great. But yeah, Jacob, how about you? Did you know that before Kira told you it previously?
I didn't, but it's also weird because when Kira and I were having this conversation, she was bringing up the idea of Marvel having a Trinity, and I've seen it floated around on Twitter about Marvel having a Trinity, and I don't think Marvel truly can ever have a Trinity. Like,
well, because of the nature of their comics, like they don't have that same structure that DC does.
Yeah, like the Trinity is like ingrained. Like the three big constants at DC Comics.
It's why, unfortunately, DC is probably just never going to move on from Clark, Bruce, and Diana as Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Whereas, like with other characters, yeah, we have different Green Lanterns and Flashes and all that, you know.
Or if we do, it's not going to be permanent. It's going to be a couple of years,
which we've seen happen so many times.
Some apparently sometimes are good. One time was not particularly good. You've read that on the podcast.
Yes, we have. But Marvel, you can't really like say it has like a proper like Trinity, just like a set of three characters that at any given time Marvel is promoting the most. Because like before Disney had the rights to Spider-Man back, like it was Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, which is such a weird Trinity. But I guess not weird when you figure that they were popular because of the movies, of course.
The movies made them popular, and Disney's like, well, Spider-Man's always going to sell. We don't actually need to push that book.
Yeah. Well, also here's the thing: is like when you look at like marketing when it comes to like toys and things out in the wild and stores and whatever. Spider-Man has his own sort of marketing because he belongs to Sony still. Like general like Avengers toys and things that come out like have like the Marvel logo, but Spider-Man's will say like Marvel in like a tiny block above it and it'll say Spider-Man. Like it's a totally almost separate branding. It's really weird. Yeah. But anyway, and also I swear Hulk would be part of that you know early MCU lineup if they had the fucking rights to do more movies with him.
So the rights the rights were at Universal and
Universal. Yep.
Are they still at Universal?
I have no fucking clue, to be honest.
They might be. I
mean, like the Incredible Hulk movie is on Disney Plus now, but like, I mean, so are the Sony Spider-Man movies. So like, it might just be like
so there's some kind of deal there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so all right, let's move on to our final set of questions. I think this is one of our longest non-spoiler sections ever. Anyway, our last set of questions come from a guy. The Mason 256 at the GD 256.
I have nothing to do with these questions. Let the records show.
I know you don't. Based on their
hey, me neither. I don't know who this guy is.
Who the fuck is the GD256? What kind of cringe name is that? And then this guy clarified below. That's my official question. You better read it on the podcast. I'm sure he will be happy to know that I did.
Okay, listen, I'm sensitive, okay? I don't appreciate the slander on this podcast. It took years to come up with that very intricate name, okay?
I know.
Listen,
You've been through blood and bone to have it.
Blood and blown every year.
Blood and blown.
God damn
yes.
it.
So his next set of questions start with opinions on the Hulk movies. I think we kind of covered those a little bit throughout this whole discussion, didn't we?
AKA, I haven't seen them.
His second question says, how did you feel about a good chunk of this comic following different superheroes?
I mean, I'm glad we got actual good and interesting Fantastic Four content.
Yay!
But also, like, the Hulk in those issues didn't actually feel like a guest. He felt like he integrated fairly well into the book.
Oh, totally. Yeah. He's practically the star of those issues. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Third question: how does Nick Fury in the comic compare to his movie counterpart? I imagine little asterisk aside from the skin tone.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Movie Nick Fury is a Samuel L. Jackson character first and foremost.
Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, he can be a bit of an edgy bastard, but not quite as much of an edgy bastard as the guy in the comics is.
Like,
oh yeah.
like I don't know. I just can't imagine film Nick Fury doing the things that comic Nick Fury did. I can imagine Samuel L. Jackson playing a character that does these sorts of things,
but not in the way that the MCU portrays Nick Fury.
No, it's like,
MCU Nick Fury still has his fair share of rat bastard moments, but like nothing quite like this, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you'll understand in spoilers because I wrote in my notes multiple times, my God, Nick Fury is a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, like the reason I asked like the question was just because like it was the biggest thing that like caught me off guard when reading this because like I genuinely like I mean like this is the first time I've ever experienced like Nick Fury as a comic character, and he's just so much more ruthless than I've seen him in the MCU, and it really caught me off guard, like in a good way. Like I could totally see like how that character would work in like this universe. It was a shock.
Yeah, cool. I'm kind of glad that actually that was so different because for the most part, you know, if nothing else, there for a lot of the characters that we've covered that have been in the MCU, like the MCU has at least had an era where they've gotten the character totally right. But like Nick Fury, while accurate, sure, they just don't quite go far enough, do they?
They've kind of sanded down the edges.
Yeah, I will say
like the baldness on Samuel L. Jackson's head.
True. I will say, for all of the TV versions of Secret Invasion's flaws, it's probably the furthest they've gone with Nick as a character. I'd say he has some really standout moments in that. But
I also have not seen Secret Invasion.
That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, and then this guy's last question for this episode. Mason, you seem a bit stressed. Are you good?
Oh man, is it that noticeable? Jeez. Okay, so like, yeah, I'm just going through a lot of like final stuff right now. I really appreciate you taking the time to like, you know, slide into the public DMs that is Twitter. But like, you know, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking.
Mason, you realize this episode's coming out like a week and a half from now, right?
Well, like, then, hey, I mean, Christmas time is almost among us. Like, hey, it's gonna be great. You know, like I might be in California right now. I don't know.
Mason, I love you so much.
Thank you. Love you too, man. Thank you for your great questions.
Oh wow. I will also say, actually, since we're bringing up Christmas time and all that, this is the last episode of Fresh Face Comics for the year.
It is.
Yeah, this is coming out December 18th. It's weird. It's a little weird. I'm happy with it. I'm happy.
And you know what? By the end, here's the thing: the full first Marvel block is going to be done by the end of January.
Yeah, because we have three Mondays in January that we're releasing episodes on.
Yes.
Which starts actually on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2024 is when our Planet Hulk episode is coming out. So we got a big fucking blowout episode to go to the new year with, which is really cool.
Yes.
So yeah, we finished that, and then we have another 2-episode shorter Marvel block to finish off the larger 10-episode Marvel block, and we'll be back into DC in February. So be on the lookout for that. With something that you don't know yet, that I'm very excited about.
Probably going to be Batman.
You don't know that.
I don't know that, but it's probably going to be Batman.
I think that was my least convincing you don't know that.
I'm just hoping it's a different Batman thing than what I think it might be.
And that's where the mystery lies.
That's where the mystery lies.
So, anyway, that was a long non-spoiler section.
Yes.
Thankfully, we only have 7 issues to cover. So,
and if I'm going to be honest, I actually don't have a whole lot of notes for this episode.
Is it because you read most of this book today?
No.
Yeah, how could you only read this book all today? How could you? I did that too.
I mean,
oh my god!
Damn it!
I love you both. All right, let's fucking do this. All right, consider this your official spoiler warning. Don't worry, you don't need to go to the episode to find out what we're fucking doing next time. It's Planet Hulk. It's gonna be cool, I hope. So we're gonna talk about that next time. But for now, this is your official spoiler warning. We're about to get into spoilers for the Planet Hulk Prelude. So if you don't want to be spoiled, or I don't know, maybe you just don't care, you can go away now or you can stay. So here we go. Spoilers. Let's get on into this, friends. Fantastic Four, number 533. Yeah.
This is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah, so this is written by J. Michael Straczynski.
Yes, it is.
It's penciled by someone called Mike McCone, who I don't think we've done anything from.
Oh, definitely not.
But the name, why does the name sound familiar to me?
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. It's a name with a lot of alliteration.
That's true.
It's nice. It's a pleasing name, Mike McCone.
That's true. But yes, but so I don't actually have a whole lot of notes, not because I read this basically all today, but because these are all really fast-paced issues.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Which it feels especially like a trend for issues of the 2000s to be really fast-paced, really snappy.
Yeah. It's a good style, honestly. It works. It always works for me, at least. Even if the stories aren't great, just if nothing else, I know it won't be too painful. Unless you're talking Dark Knight Strikes Again.
Well, Dark Knight Strikes Again is 200 plus pages when it doesn't need to be.
Yeah.
I
mean, it should be 0 pages.
Yes.
I do have a quick question. When were these issues coming out?
05, I believe.
Yes, 05, late 04 to early 05.
Okay, cool.
And then Planet Hulk itself
released up until 06 at some point.
Yeah, well, no, wait, I'm a full year off. Late 05 to early 06 were these issues.
And so Planet Hulk was sometime in 07.
Basically all of 2006 and the first 4 months of 2007. So
okay, cool.
This is a large chunk.
Yeah.
So we open in Vegas.
We do. The Hulk as the Hulk, but talking very normally.
Yes.
Is being transported somewhere to investigate something. It's all very secretive, and
it's this idea that there is a Hydra weapon. But it's got to be. But Hulk, Banner Hulk. Smart Hulk who can speak and has the intelligence and identity of Bruce Banner is is this a real Hydra weapon and not something put here by somebody who's supposed to be I don't know, on our own side. It's no, sure, yes, 100% definitely a weapon created by Hydra. Shield is a very, very good, upstanding intelligence organization.
Yes, completely upheld even through the end of all 7 of these issues. Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, as we go to investigate our Hydra weapon inside these caves, we find a giant fucking gamma bomb. It's massive, it's green, and we are supposed to deactivate it before it blows up and causes all kinds of shit to happen.
I love this image of the Hulk with this little headset, like this
Right?
little earpiece headset. It's kind of
Oh,
adorable.
yeah.
It's just like, yes, I can operate this headset. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna disarm the and oops, it blows up.
I will say real quick, like I like, again, like I'm very used to like Hulk being like this big brutish like brutish, like, oh, just run in any situation. I like that he just like picks up dust and like blows it into like these lasers, be like, okay, yeah, there's lasers here.
Yeah, it's
This
a
like
cool little
big
moment.
9-foot giant, just like, oh yeah, here, let me blow some dust into this.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. But yeah, so Hulk begins to try to deactivate this gamma bomb. Shield begins to evacuate, and well, I mean, how are you really going to deactivate a gamma bomb? It fucking blows up. But more on that later. Meanwhile,
Because this is a Fantastic Four issue.
We need to actually find out what the Fantastic Four is up to. So 5 hours later in Manhattan, seems that the Thing, Ben Grimm, is running some sort of training exercise, and he's taking a shower, which is, sure, how that works.
He is also, he's just fantastic. Like,
I love Ben Grimm, man.
He's great.
Like, the entire Fantastic Four in these issues is just, I don't know. It's so nice for them to have, characterization and
Yeah.
Mason, I have to ask you, what was your history with the Fantastic Four before this?
So I grew up on like the 2005 and 2007 movies, which I remember really liking when I was younger. It's been years since I've like seen them. So
It's
like
been a long
I
time since I
knew,
watched them.
yeah, like, so like from there I knew all of their like personalities. I also saw Fant Four Stick
Oh
like a few years
no!
ago.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's not very good. I remember like being like, oh god, I forget when the movie came out, but I was like, I don't know, like 14 or 15.
2015, I think.
Yeah, so I would have been like 14 or 15 whenever I eventually watched it, and it was like one of the first movies that I ever like consciously, as I was watching, was like, oh yeah, I don't like this. This isn't very good.
Yeah, it's no.
Yeah, so like other than that, this is my first interaction, and I really like the dynamics of everybody. Like, especially later on, we get some stuff with Johnny Storm and then Ben, and I really like it. Like I want to read more Fantastic Four comics now.
No, like, I am the same way. It's kind of a shame that I know the last Marvel block we do is not going to be Fantastic Four.
It is not going to be Fantastic Four.
Because you haven't read much Fantastic Four.
But Jacob, is it not fair to say that we've pretty much read an entire Fantastic Four block across this Marvel block?
Yes, but I want an actual run where they're well written and get to be a family and have that drama.
Would you believe me if I told you that we still have yet another Fantastic Four member appearance next time?
Yes, I would. I totally would.
Ooh.
I mean, that would mean they've appeared in every block.
No, not the next block. I mean, in the next episode.
Oh, in the next episode.
Oh, fun!
Now I'm disappointed. I was hoping we'd get them in every block.
Sorry. I don't think they're in the last 2 episodes.
They could be there for one panel.
Who fucking knows with these guys?
Fucking like building is just in the background.
Yeah,
but
it would not surprise me.
So Reed Richards and Sue Richards, because they are married, have children, and the Child Protective Services want to take their children away, and
yeah, like I was reading this being like, all right, I guess I'm very excited to see how this ends up with Hulk on a planet somewhere, but sure, let's see what they're
it's a little weird.
I mean, part of this is because this is the ongoing Fantastic Four.
One could say we have to stretch a little bit to get to where we need to go.
You were completely transparent with that pun.
We also get a
nice
Ben
job,
Grimm
Jacob.
tiny penis joke.
I thought that was
a little
funny,
weird.
Jacob. Yeah.
I know. I'm on
Ha,
fire
comma,
tonight.
ha, comma, ha.
It is funny because I just love Ben Grimm as a character.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but yeah,
It's
CBS
a
wants to
genuinely
take
funny joke.
take the kids, and but Reed and Sue are like, no, Ben, you and Johnny go beat up the Hulk or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I always love that fucking Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Car. I fucking love that thing. It's beautiful.
It is a design.
I love that it's never changed.
It looks like
You
a
know
fucking
what?
Gallagher ship.
I was gonna say it looked like something that was designed in the 1960s.
Yeah, it is never changed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Ben and Johnny leave. They go out to this desert where this gamma bomb went off, trying to find out what happened, where the Hulk went. As they investigate around here, they see the destruction of the bomb. They find out that the Hulk disappeared afterwards.
Ground Zero is still irradiated.
Mm-hmm. And like and like here is where we get the setup where like Bruce Banner is like, I think the only person who could actually beat me in a fair fight is Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But also, importantly, a fair fight.
A fair
Oh
fight.
yeah, of course.
We also get a quick cut in of as Johnny goes all flame on and with his asbestos gloves. Oh boy. You know,
I love it.
it makes sense that the Fantastic Four would be immune to cancer. It still just gives me that little bit of cringe of, oh, you're using asbestos as gloves.
Anyway, we cut over to Reed and Sue meeting with a social worker, I think. Or the fuck that? Yeah.
Protective Services, who's like, well, it's like, yeah, your kids are in danger. It's like, and Reed is like, okay, cool. You can take the children today, but I have one condition, and we'll follow that up in 2
We'll
weeks.
find out next time that Child Protective Services sponsors this show.
If you gave me 100 years, I never would guess what the small request was going to be.
Right?
Holy shit.
How do you convince someone to do that?
All right, hear me out. I have a plan.
Give me a second. Do you know what insurance is? Anyway,
and do you know what insurance fraud is?
I really gotta like talk about that whenever like it actually comes up because I'm so confused about what actually happened there.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. But meanwhile, Johnny and Ben are still looking for the Hulk, and they find him. They certainly find him. They are attacked by the Hulk, all gray looking.
Massive.
Massive gray. They said before that he seems to have reverted to a more primal state. So Mason, I don't know if you knew this. You might have actually. But the Hulk in his very earliest appearances was actually gray and not green.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't actually make that connection. Like reading this, that's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So, that's where we end the first issue. So we go into Fantastic Four number 534. Pick up exactly where we left off. It's now a fight between the Hulk and the Thing. Not a fair fight.
I like this duality of like, there's like 5 text bubbles for Ben, and then for the Hulk, it's just ah!
Yeah, throws him across the desert. It's a really great fight. Just fun stuff. And also, as this fight is happening, we get some flashbacks to some Bruce Banner things, which is going to happen a lot more throughout these remaining 2 issues of Fantastic Four. Which actually kind of makes this even work of kind of like a really cool starting book for the Hulk, because if you're not familiar with like his comic backstory, a lot of it's here actually, which is really nice.
You get the origin that there's a gamma bomb was being detonated, and Bruce Banner found a man at the test site and threw him into a ditch to protect him from the radiation, which is how he became the Hulk. And it's done in parallel with the Grey Hulk Thing fight, which is just fantastic because the action is actually drawn really, really well. It is really good, and I don't know. I think I wouldn't be so obvious as to pair the Thing and Hulk together as like parallel characters. But now that I've read it, it's kind of the most obvious thing in the world to do.
Yeah,
Like,
it works so well.
they are
Yeah.
both men who become or have become monstrous due to radiation, radiation of a different kind in each case, but still like something that's there. And I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like that you keep using the word fantastic to describe this.
it's not intentional, I promise.
I was also gonna ask if you were doing that as like a joke.
Part of me just knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, yeah. So more flashbacks. The various dead Hulk girlfriends. Because why would anyone dating this guy stay alive?
Yeah, but it's all meant to be like,
Generally.
the Hulk has never been accepted, and the Gray Hulk is still kind of trying to deal with that. Johnny Storm is like trying to ask these things.
Mhm.
Uh,
and Johnny I mean knows that he really can't contribute much to this fight as it is, which is I don't know, just adds this really cool element to it. Is like they kind of like have to let the Hulk keep rampaging because the Thing really right now isn't much of a match for him. Yeah, it's just fascinating. I love that. But yeah, Hulk eventually actually finds his way to a hospital eventually
in Vegas.
Mhm.
And yeah, we get to this scene where so Straczynski is clearly implying that this Grey Hulk, there's in the mind of the Grey Hulk is Bruce Banner somehow,
Mhm.
on some level, because he finds this blind man and is reminded of somebody who died of AIDS.
Mhm. I
And
admittedly don't know who this is. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, clearly, like it means something to the Hulk.
there are clearly other Hulk runs that we should read at some
Most
point.
definitely.
Um,
But yeah, so like you see in this moment, sort of like Banner once again starting to kind of break through, and Johnny Storm being Johnny Storm kind of like fucks it up. um, yeah, as he like comes in, still trying to reason with the Hulk. This Hulk version of him kind of like snaps back to his rampage, attacking Johnny. Ben eventually joining the fight
but
as
Ben has
well.
this great moment with this blind patient. It's just 2 panels of this idea of him holding this blind patient's hand,
And
reassuring him.
he tells him that he's gonna be okay, and the blind guy like feels his hand, and he's like, "Are you all right? What happened to you?" And Ben's like, "Long story," and he like jumps back into the fight, and it's just a really cool moment. I love that. And that's also like for me at least, as someone that's actually reading the current Fantastic Four run by Ryan North. um, Fantastic Four, from my experience at least, really thrives on these really intimate character moments, which is funny for a team book. But it's cool. It always really works in my opinion. But anyway, yeah, fight goes on. We get some more Bruce Banner thing. No, sorry, we get some Thing flashbacks actually. Or no, sorry, no. It's they're still Banner flashbacks. It's through the lens of him seeing the Thing. It's a weird moment. It's portrayed kind of weird.
Yeah, so it turns out that at this point during Marvel history, the Hulk's wife is dead.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Big famous Hulk death.
big fame. Okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of this big famous Hulk death.
Rip.
Yeah, but and like that's what he's remembering. But also, like Ben is like, listen, Johnny, the Hulk and I are both monsters. Let me try and talk him down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just give me one last chance.
Yeah, and
And it's
I mean,
remembering his wife's death that just breaks the Hulk.
mhm.
Like,
it leading into this like monstrous cliffhanger where the Grey Hulk completely towers over the thing, and he says, I swear I'll kill you," and it's just I don't know, it's drawn so menacingly. I love it. But yeah, I guess that ends that issue and bringing us into the last of our Fantastic Four issues for today, Fantastic Four number 535. So this is where I actually hadn't realized it until now that Reed and Sue were missing from the entirety of the second issue there.
Yeah. Realize it. I think that's actually just a sign of JMS telling a really engaging story.
Yeah, like I said, I literally hadn't realized it until we had that conversation just now. Wow.
Yeah, they aren't here, and
I mean,
that's
hey,
okay.
Reed is busy with his small favor. Okay.
Yeah, a small favor. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, fight continues. I'm struggling to come up with new ways to say that.
You can tell why my notes are a little short for this one.
And again, it's not bad because the pacing's really good. It keeps you engaged for the most part.
Excellent pacing. It tells an excellent story. It's just it tells a story.
It's a very simple story. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that like these people from the flashbacks are like Hulk characters. Like I don't know who this like Shazam guy is, but like
he does kind of look like Shazam.
I know I'm pretty sure what the first one is Betty Ross's father, right?
Yep. Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And I love
that Brainiac.
I don't think Mason realizes that Brainiac is a DC character.
Oh, sorry. Wait, who's the guy?
I thought he was joking at first.
No,
I'm sorry.
He is being 100% serious.
No, okay,
no,
sorry,
I don't, dude. I cannot express how much I do not know these comics. But like, there's a guy in the Hulk movie who like gets like blood on his head and it like expands.
That guy? You're thinking of the leader.
The leader, thank you. Yeah.
That is not who this is, but yeah, you're thinking of the leader.
It's another guy.
Anyway, moving on. Let's see. Oh yeah, I love this bit actually. As the fight is going on, these guys in this Vegas casino see the fight happening, and they start taking bets on who would win between the Thing and the Hulk, and everyone's betting on the Hulk. And then there's this one guy that's like, "I bet on the Thing," and his wife starts like yelling at him, and he's like, "What? The Thing is the green guy, right?" It's just a funny moment. I love that.
It's also it's little moments like these that you don't always get today in modern comics. Like it's a nice little piece of world building.
Mm-hmm.
Like current comics almost have a tendency to be way too focused on the characters that headline the book, and like, yeah, that makes sense. But also show us the world. Show us these people.
Yeah, like what do other people think about these main characters? Which is actually a big reason why I've been really loving the Wonder Woman by Tom King.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of glad I brought up. Watch Fresh Face One Shots. It's been great. Yeah. Anyway, shameless plug. As this is all happening, Johnny notices a broadcast on TV that from Reed and Sue of the Fantastic Four saying that they are willingly giving up custody of their children. And they say that they're going to stay in this house exactly. They pretty much like say exactly where the kids are being placed.
Well, it's in a house in absolute secrecy in order to assure the safety of our children. They are definitely 100% going to be safe.
Insane plan. Genuinely insane plan.
I mean, isn't Reed Richards kind of an insane bastard?
Yeah. Anyway,
Hold on. I'll wait.
It's coming.
So we also get, I think, this really interesting idea. So we've already talked a little bit about the whole, this whole idea of in the first Avengers movie about the Hulk putting a bullet through his head. These entire flashback sequences, JMS is intending to be the Hulk's life flashing before his eyes as he's about to die. And it's almost this idea of the Hulk always being on the edge of this eternal death, which I think is a fascinating little idea. Because, you have a character who probably should be dead, and can't be reasoned with. And then pairing that with Ben Grimm just adds this extra layer of like these two characters are monsters, and Ben gets really this really interesting monologue that's an intercut with another monologue that in this constantly green text, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be Bruce Banner.
Yeah, like Bruce talking to the Hulk.
Yes. And basically like, hey, maybe we're doomed, and maybe we're trapped to be the Hulk. And this Grey Hulk wants to reject that and fight and fights. And what's fascinating is that the day is essentially saved by another explosion.
Because Johnny comes in and basically goes Nova.
Yeah.
And that is finally enough to, at the very least, bring the Hulk to his senses, to at least finally listen to Bruce and let Bruce through. And so the Hulk begins talking like Bruce again, talking like Banner, and is able to be reasoned with again. And it's a really great moment.
Yeah. The issue closes out on an even better moment with them, but in between that,
oh my god.
Here we go. All right, Mason, you want to take this bit away?
Okay, yeah. So what? Okay, so basically, what happens here is they're like, "All right, cool. We've told people that our kids are going to be safe, and we're like making double, triple, quadruple sure that like no one knows the location." And then like the person is like, "Oh, I mean, well, I had to tell my supervisor because it's like, my job." And they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, even then." And then it cuts to this lovely scene where these kids are like playing with like a bear or something. And then they blow up. Like a fuck ton of rockets just like come out of the sky, and they just fucking die. And I didn't realize that this was meant to be like a thing at first, because I was scrolling on, and like it's like this woman gets a call and she's like, "Oh yeah, all right, yeah, no worries, I'll tell them." And I'm like, she's being very blasé about the fact that like she probably just found out that their fucking kids are dead. And then it's revealed that like what happened was Reed was like, "I really don't trust the idea of our kids living anywhere other than our house, so I'm gonna make these things." Like, actually, yeah. What the hell are they? Are they robots? Like, are they? What the fuck are they?
I'm not sure if it was implied they were clones. Really, I think the idea was that the kids you see as you watch the house getting blown up is actually the kids still with Reed and Sue.
Yeah.
And then the house.
I read it.
Yeah, I don't think the house actually has anyone in it.
Well, yeah. I mean, but like, there's a scene where like the rockets are going towards like the safe house, and it cuts to the kids like looking up, like shocked or like nervous or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a misdirect.
That's true.
Okay.
I wonder. I bet the kids are, because it leads right into the scene then when the phone rings. Maybe the kids are looking up at the phone ringing.
Yeah, it's called a misdirect.
Maybe they're terrified of phones, I guess. Then I don't fucking know.
As all kids are. You ever have social anxiety?
That's not something we need to get into on this.
No,
podcast.
It's 2005. Social anxiety hadn't been invented yet.
That's true. That's true.
But no. Also, we find out that like not only this house was incinerated, but everything inside and outside for a half-mile radius. Okay, Reed. Did you make sure this was a deserted area? Because if not, you probably have bodies on your hands. Like a half-mile radius is a fairly decent, like, that's a large area.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I don't think it's a large area of charred land now, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
And potential corpses. I mean, I'll give Reed Richards the benefit of the doubt that he did.
I hope he's smart enough. I imagine he's smart enough to know better. But anyway, so this proves to them, like, the CPS lady. She's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess you guys can keep your kids now. Bye.
It's like, yeah, no, it's like, well, Because it
Man.
only took them 4 hours to find this location.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so the point basically being that, like, it's, yeah, sure, they're in danger, but the only way they can actually be safe is with us to protect them.
Also, the Baxter Building has actual defenses. I have read Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. It has crazy weird defenses.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, they're let off the hook, and then we begin to close out the actual issue with Ben and Banner again, and they get this really great moment together where they talk about them. They talk about the whole, like, life flashing before your eyes thing, and Banner asks Ben, he's like, did that happen to you? And Ben's like, I don't want to talk about it, and Banner's like, yeah, I get that. And then they part ways. Banner is picked up by a helicopter, and we end on this interesting note that is, importantly, I think the only reason why these issues are included in this prelude. So as Ben and Johnny are talking at the end here, Johnny says, "So what? So what did you tell Reed what happened?" And Ben says, "Yeah, I told him that after the gamma bomb and then you going Nova and the Hulk's still standing there, that maybe there wasn't anything that could kill the guy. Then I made a little joke and said maybe the only way to really protect the world from the Hulk is if he ever really goes nuts, is to stick him in a rocket and shoot him into outer space. Let him be somebody else's problem." And then Johnny says, "Did he laugh?" And Ben goes, "Oddly enough, no." And that is the note we end the issue on.
And it is a sinister note because of what's coming up next.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
So, like, I don't know if spoilers for the end of the book, but we are in the spoiler section. So did you guys figure that Reed would have anything to do with the end of this book? Even if he wasn't present?
So here's the thing. For whatever reason, okay? Up until about Incredible Hulk 89 or 90, I was like, well, I mean, so we're getting Bruce Banner into space. Maybe something's just gonna go wrong. I wasn't expecting actively, we're gonna try to shoot the Hulk into another galaxy.
Yeah. This guy is a threat. We need to make sure he's not a threat to us.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I had known because I don't know anything about what actually happens in Planet Hulk, but I did know that it was like him in a rocket ship landing on like another planet somewhere. And like from that moment, I guess in my head, it kind of clicked that I was like, oh shoot, these guys are like gonna actively shoot this guy into another place. And like it honestly kind of led to a moment like to slightly get ahead to slightly get ahead of ourselves. Like it kind of led me like towards these later issues, just kind of waiting for it to be revealed that that's what was going on.
Mm. Did you find that took away from like the issues later on?
Not necessarily, but like I guess just it like I'm unsure if part of the book's charm is like slightly taken away by the fact that I already knew what was going to happen.
Mm.
But like it didn't take away from the issues necessarily. I do prefer the Fantastic Four ones to the Hulk ones, but like I don't think that took away from it.
Mm.
I mean, I think it's also because JMS might be a stronger writer than
very, very possibly.
Daniel Way. Daniel Way in the next 4 issues introduces a couple of potential supporting characters, and then doesn't give them too much in strength of characterization. They're just kind of normal people.
Yeah, Daniel Way did some interesting things with these last couple issues.
Yeah, but there's a lot of it that just feels of these last couple issues of just like it feels like Daniel Way is like, well, I'm leaving the book. Greg Pak is coming on to helm this big event, and it just kind of feels that because of that, there isn't ways like I don't want to play any interesting cards.
Yeah, fair enough. I will say, as we get into these issues, I think some of my favorite cover art in this comes from these issues. The cover art by Brandon Peterson. Oh my god, I fucking love these Hulk covers so much.
Oh yeah, like
The
number 88 of like him with like the like bloodshot or red eyes is
Yeah,
really good.
yeah. Oh, they're all so good. But speaking of, let's get into Incredible Hulk number 88. So you had actually mentioned before we started the recording, Jacob, that you, I think, especially liked this first issue of the Hulk issues.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I like the idea of just Bruce Banner being on his own in Alaska. I feel like you could tell some interesting stories with that.
And they
We
do
then
tell an
don't
interesting
tell.
story in the first issue.
Yeah, we tell one interesting story with that.
Yeah.
Um,
I see. To be fair, I can understand where Way is kind of coming from in the approach to this. Is like, I'm not sure how far you could go with the concept alone,
yeah.
but also, I mean, for all I know, I haven't read the run leading up to this issue. Maybe he has been here for a while. I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, I don't know, but yeah, yeah. So he's in Alaska. Hulk with a beard is in Alaska. He is fishing alongside a bear here. He's living like a man, I guess. I don't know. He's out here. He's being he goes and meets with this other guy that flies in to meet with him. He's going under the alias Robert, which is a great little joke because Bob Banner exists. I don't know if you caught on to that at all.
I don't
guess
get it.
Me neither.
Bob Banner was the name they fucked up in the old comics.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they called him Bob Banner instead of Bruce.
Oh,
Oh,
right,
did they?
right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Sort of like how there's one issue of Spider-Man where they call him, what's his name? Something Parker. Or no, Peter
Peter
is it
Palmer.
Peter Palmer, that's
Palmer.
it. Yeah.
Oh no.
But with Bruce Banner, they actually decided to incorporate that into his name. They made which one is his middle name? Is it Robert or is Bruce's middle name?
I mean, Bruce being his middle name would kind of make it like would make sense, I think.
I forget exactly what it is. Here, I'll look it up quick.
Mr.
I
Hulkman.
feel like Bruce sounds better as a middle name.
It does.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's Robert Bruce Banner. So Robert is his actual first name, but everybody calls him
That's
Bruce.
cool.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because of a continuity issue early on in Hulk comics. So yeah, it's fun. Anyway, didn't they actually also call him Bob Banner in his Spider-Man appearance, Jacob? Or no, was that in Daredevil?
No, they called him Bruce in Daredevil.
Did they? Okay. It all
Yeah.
gets jumbled. Anyway, so yeah, so he has fished, he has hunted, he has made friends here in Alaska. It's just a cool opening. I don't know. I really like it. Eventually he goes skipping forward to like Saturday night when he goes out drinking.
He's offered to, go out drinking, just have a little bit of social interaction.
Mhm.
He does. He doesn't drink anything, probably because doesn't want to lose any emotional inhibitions.
Mhm.
Doesn't want to become the Hulk in front of all these people. But it's a good, interesting time. He meets someone called Katie, who's up here to shoot a movie. They hit it off. There's another girl there who then gets accosted by some men, and so Banner goes and follows these men and hooks out on them. And it's great, actually.
In fact, I'm pretty sure like he fucking kills these guys. He kills them. He fucking murders them. They're fucking dead.
I mean, they kind of deserve it for what they're doing here.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
It's done with minimal dialogue.
Yeah. It's fucking effective.
Also, the art style shift to the art by Ku Cha and Juan Santa Cruz is this almost painted style. And it just really works. It's for all four of these issues. And it works, and we end with this poor girl on the ground saying, "Oh God, who's gonna believe me? Who's gonna believe me?"
And then he just disappears.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And like
Um,
sometime later, the smokers like a smoker's kit is brought for him, as well as a communication device.
from one
Nick's
Nicholas Fury.
Fury.
And that is where we end the first issue of Incredible Hulk.
Yeah,
I,
as you
I
can
think
see,
that
I was
like
kind of like, oh, I was kind of hoping for more of this setting. We aren't getting that.
Fair enough. What were you gonna say, Mason?
I was gonna say, I feel like, and like, I feel like if you were to actually do a proper, like, I guess MCU like level Planet Hulk movie, this is a great opening for that.
Yeah, totally. Actually, because it's a fairly isolated story. In fact, actually, here's the thing: when we talk about like adapting like bigger Marvel comics into like MCU things, like we've gotten rid of a lot of big Marvel heroes in the MCU already, but this is one where like for the premise, you only really need Hulk and Nick Fury right now. And actually, I guess the MCU is introducing the Fantastic Four soon, so that it's all kind of there.
It's all there.
Yeah,
Also, I mean, the MCU has also barely properly adapted a lot of the arcs that they, quote unquote, adapt.
yeah, yeah.
So, like, even swapping out characters,
Which they do oh so often.
I think even for this, could still possibly work.
Yeah.
If they had to, like, you could do stuff like that.
Mhm.
Uh,
But anyway,
yeah,
let's go on to Incredible Hulk number 89.
which has this fantastic cover of Hulk in space.
Very angry.
Yes. So, I will say this issue is a bit weird because it keeps jumping around in terms of time,
Yeah, it's a little weird.
but like, and it feels like it. I don't know. I don't know if it feels like this was underrunning, so they added in the weird time jumpy bits because it's like
Maybe
the
because
time jumpy bits don't really
well, I
work.
think are these first two pages like the only actual time jumps in this first issue?
Well, no, because then later on it goes to 5 days ago again, and then 6 days ago, and back to 5, and then now. When really we could have just done something linear. We could have told this pretty much linear, like as linear.
Yeah. I mean, I do appreciate the opening tease with Hulk in the pod leaving into space, and like Fury watching from the bottom. It's like okay, that makes sense. But
With
beyond
like
that,
the
time
text
jump.
like mission accomplished.
Yeah, like time jumping any more beyond that is a little weird, but I do like the opening. But yeah, so we get back into
6 days ago.
6 days ago, where Bruce and Nick actually meet. Nick Fury has an assignment for Dr. Bruce Banner, and he is here to tell him all about it. Basically, for now, we are meant to believe there's a Hydra weapon that Shield is aware of.
A Hydra space station that has a revolutionary AI system that is skewed intelligence because it was an experiment, to blow up the world by detonating nukes without being noticed.
I think, as predictable as the twist is in here, it's still so good.
Oh, here's the thing. My brain is like, I can almost buy this.
Well, you can buy it. I think the funny thing about it, though, especially because if I guess if you know comic book Nick Fury a little bit more, I guess the twist is more obvious. But like, yeah, what the AI system is, it makes sense. But who made it is to be questioned, I suppose. But yeah, so Fury lays out what is meant to happen, and Bruce, of course,
He also has this amazingly dark character moment where he's laughing over Russian cosmonauts suffocating to death in space.
yeah,
Like,
Oh yeah, and like Bruce is like, oh, you think that's funny? And then he goes like, it was the Cold War banner. So yeah, I do think it's funny.
oh man, what a cold bitch! I love him.
Yeah, and so much of this issue is just this extended conversation, and like
Mhm.
it's a fantastic extended conversation.
Mhm.
largely because it's like we could be changing the world with this. It's crazy. It's like it's like, and we have, what really gets Banner on board is it's mentioned that, like, hey, this AI unleashed a preemptive strike, and it's happened before, and it happened when Chernobyl went up. Bit of an interesting idea. I don't know if I love the idea, but it's enough, enough to get Bruce Banner convinced, like, okay, I'll go up. What do you need me to disarm this? I will. It's like, oh no, we don't need you to disarm this. We just need you to smash it.
And Banner's like, well, if it was that much of a threat and you just needed destroyed, why wasn't it destroyed years ago? And Nick's like, we tried twice. And Bruce is like, that's all you did. You tried twice and just kind of gave up. And so Nick is like, I only had the opportunity twice. Now we have another opportunity, and now it's you. You are the opportunity. You're gonna go up there. You're gonna smash it. It's gonna be fucking great. And again, also, actually, the time frames really make no sense. It's weird. Anyway, yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, because wait. So if Hulk was traveling 5 days ago already in space, why is he still there now? If he's only going like slightly outside of the moon, slightly outside of the Earth, like it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't track.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway,
you gotta save gas.
Yeah. He's on an economy flight.
There's no come and goes out there. You gotta take it slow. You gotta like drop it in neutral and just let it coast for a bit.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So Bruce accepts. He is sent up into space. I like that he's essentially sent up there with like just a breathing mask, pretty much.
Yeah.
We find out later. I don't think it's said in this issue yet. I don't think it's said till like the second to last, or maybe the last issue, where it's like, okay, yeah, you only need a breathing mask. Basically, if the breathing mask breaks, like our research says that your body will just continue to adapt to the vacuum of space, and you'll be fine.
Which, I mean, is true technically, but also you should get suspicious of that because clearly want him dead.
Yeah.
and so we get the Hulk into space. He gets initially attacked by the arms of this AI, and oh look, it's plastered with SHIELD logos.
Yep. And Hulk immediately realizes that he has been set up, and he screams fury, and that's where we end the issue. And it's such a great cliffhanger. It's so fucking good. Bringing us into Incredible Hulk number 90. So
that's a cool cover.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, him smashing the thing. Oh, it's so good with the moon behind him like that. It looks awesome. But yeah, so keeping updates on what Hulk is up to this whole time. Fury is on his base below, watching what Hulk is up to.
And one of his underlings is like, "Hey, what if how are you going to get him to stay angry up there if that mask breaks?" It's like, "Oh, don't worry, he'll stay angry."
Which also just tells you immediately that also, like, even Fury's own men don't really know that Fury has set up Hulk.
This is definitely a Reed Richards Nick Fury plan. Like,
oh yeah.
So
Hulk is being attacked up in space by the AI system. We get some really great action shots. It's actually a lot of what this issue is action shots of Hulk fighting the space AI thing.
Yes,
created by Shield Mind, as I feel is important to continually bring up.
We get our first proper Hulk smash.
Yeah, he's going to scream that Hulk smash, and I love watching the way that the AI adapts. Actually, how it sort of creates this web-like cocoon around him, out of its parts. Like it's a really cool idea. I love it.
Try and bring it, and it brings him on board it, and then Shield loses visual, and so it turns out, oh no, this thing starts to charge up So Fury's going to activate his backup team, which makes me wonder if, like, okay, they were actually already trying to deal with this rogue AI thing, and just also like, hey, we can kill two birds with one stone. We can send the Hulk up there, kill it, and then just throw him into space and make him somebody else's problem.
Yeah, we already want to get rid of the guy. Yeah, while we're here, while we're in space, let's make it his job.
To also get rid of an evil AI that we created.
Yeah, and if he can't, well, we probably can anyway ourselves. So so he sends the second team out into space. Once again, love watching the way the AI adapts as Hulk is then completely consumed by it into this space station looking area, and he turns back.
And the second team is also completely destroyed.
Oh yeah, you get the thing where like Nick Fury is like taking the earpiece that's just screaming.
Oh, it's so good. But yeah, so Bruce, so Hulk then transforms back into Bruce. He wakes up on this station inside the AI space station, and it is now surrounded by the weapon has converted all the subatomic energy that it's stored into gamma radiation that is now surrounding the AI system. And as Bruce like continues to sort of look through this space station, he finds the entire crew that first went up with it. They're all dead, obviously.
It looks almost like they've had like they've like dried out.
Yeah. They also have like robot like tentacles coming out of their ears, it looks like. So it doesn't look like they like starved here, really. It looks like the AI did something to them.
Like maybe absorb them because it's like a learning machine and it's like
oh my god, ooh, it's such a cool idea. Oh, I love
it. It's a shame that it's only in these issues, and that's
it really is only just serving as this subplot to get Hulk sent out into space. But it is a really cool idea to they could have just as easily in one issue sent him into space, but I'm glad they're actually taking the time to tell a story along with it, which sounds like I shouldn't applaud it for that, but it's a cool idea. I love it.
Yeah, and it's a good story. And like the issue ends then with Bruce Banner face to face with this AI in a robotic humanoid like construct, with fingers that look like they're meant to suck. Like that's how I look at those fingers, and it's
suck or blow, one might say. And that is where the issue ends, taking us into our final issue for today, The Incredible Hulk number 91. So, we haven't mentioned it actually up to this point. The story throughout these last 4 issues is called Peace in Our Time, which I don't know, it's just such a perfect title. I love that. Anyway, so big boardroom meeting with Nick Fury and
the Pentagon. So I think it's important to contextualize this as this wasn't during the Bush administration. Like, weird thing to contextualize, I know, but like it's the Bush administration. You can tell these 2 pages are a giant block of text of fear because it's like, oh no, what if you're creating an Incredible Hulk that is a space station AI thing, is the fear. But it's like this, like, well, it can't replicate the Hulk because gamma radiation is unstable, and the Hulk's transformation was a fluke. But it also feels like Fury is trying to also convince himself as well as the United States government.
Oh, totally.
Because he doesn't know. And it's like he does know that the AI is going to try to assimilate. And the rest of the series is kind of a horror action story with that being the premise. Like the AI recognizes Bruce Banner as not human. And, it's like, that makes 2 of us. What makes 2 of you? It's like, oh, you really want to know? Yes. So he uses that point to turn into the Hulk. And we
And-
start fighting.
And through this fight, the AI is both fighting Hulk and also seemingly it looks like trying to like learn from it as well.
Learn and assimilate. Like it starts to like replicate his muscular structure. And like Shield is watching this, and it becomes a brutal fight. And it's this whole idea of like it's brutal, but he's just getting started.
Yeah.
Especially as like the AI just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and the fight is in space. As God's Eye is going to go supernova, and then
it causes this like massive explosion of gamma radiation in space.
It also looks like the Hulk gets bigger.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So not only are they sending him out into space to like another planet, he's going there stronger, which would be something to keep in mind, of course. But yeah, this destroys the space station, and Hulk and the AI begin like fighting on the moon. It's just a cool visual. Get a fun fight out of it. Eventually, after destroying the remaining bits of the AI, the robot goes down with it, and Hulk is then he latches onto this like cable that takes him back up into this shield pod that he presumes at least is going to take him back to Earth.
Yeah, this is a secondary shuttle.
Yeah.
So, but oh no, it starts going the other direction. And back on Earth, Fury posed the question, what if he comes back? It's like, well, then we'll deal with it. That's our job. And, you know, Fury opens communication to someone, presumably the President of the United States, because it's Channel 1. That feels like it could be for the President. Saying, what's the status? Mission accomplished. And the last line is, Bruce, we're so sorry, but you've left us with little choice, as the Hulk screams no and is sent into space.
Yep.
So
I will say, okay. I'll say you find out at the very least who Bruce sees on the screen there at the end. I'll say that you'll find that out next time.
I hope it's not Ben Grimm, because I
see.
Feels
you'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, in my head, like I assumed it was probably like maybe Reed Richards.
It could be Reed. It could be Reed. I wonder who else. I'm trying to think of who else it could be.
We do know that apparently one of the Fantastic Four is going to be in this upcoming.
That's true.
Episode, so.
That is true.
That is true.
In a small way, a very small way. So,
but knowing the Fantastic Four, that could be fucking Johnny. Like
that is
Johnny shows up in a lot of places.
To be fair, those times were like mostly involving Spider-Man, though.
That's true. But I could imagine. I mean, we're also in space. It could be the Silver Surfer, right?
True.
Yeah.
But I guess that does it. That does that. See, that was only like a little less than like an hour long spoiler section.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's a short book. It's a short
book, and the issues aren't particularly jam packed.
And honestly, it's kind of refreshing coming off of our previous Marvel books.
Yes, yeah. But also like it's good. It's decent.
Yeah,
it's fun. It sets up the scenario for what Planet Hulk's going to be.
Are you really excited for Planet Hulk?
Oh, I'm excited. It'll be interesting. I'm fully expecting a complete change in style, because we're getting
most definitely
a whole new writing team.
Greg Pak is a very different writer.
Yeah.
And also you're on a totally different planet, so there's it's it's going to be very different, and just honestly just a very different kind of comic book in general. That's what I'll say going into the next.
I mean, I don't know. It'd be hard. It's kind of like the Planet Hulk Prelude is good, but I'm like, it's kind of tough to recommend not knowing how Planet Hulk turns out.
Well, at the very least, when you recommend a Planet Hulk Prelude to somebody, it's a small investment.
Yeah.
it's a small book. You're not asking them to invest, a million hours of their time. Like, it's a very quick read. Obviously, since you both read it today, but yeah, it's a very easy thing to get into, and you're not asking for a ton of investment. And I think at the very least, it piques your interest for getting into the actual Planet Hulk story.
I do have a
100%, yeah.
question. I have a question for you, Joey. When you were designing this for these first 10 Marvel episodes, were these 2 episodes always in it?
What's funny is back when I didn't come up with when I was first coming up with the Marvel block, I didn't have the idea of the 10 episodes with 5 2-episode blocks each in it. I was originally going to have us do the whole saga, going up to World War Hulk as well. This story was always in this block, no matter what. So
this was always here.
Always here. So yeah, World War Hulk was going to be part of it, but I was like, we'll finish it another time. Planet Hulk is a good sort of standalone story. You don't necessarily require World War Hulk, but we'll totally do it when we get to probably our next
World War Hulk. Also,
block,
its own big event where it gets its own mini series.
Yeah, World War Hulk is a five issue mini series. I'm pretty sure they're double length. Yeah, they're double length issues, and yeah, you do need the context of Planet Hulk for it, but it's another pretty big event.
Whereas Planet Hulk is longer, it's 16 issues, but those are also the issues of the Incredible. I believe pretty much all issues of the Incredible.
Yeah, almost all. There are a couple small exceptions in there. They're mostly stories from other things. So, yeah.
So,
but yeah, so that was that. That was good. That was a good time. Mason, thanks for coming on for this first one. And
absolutely, thank you so much for having me again.
Of course. I'm assuming you'll be on for the next one. So that'll be nice. That'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Actually, it's funny. So I think I give you the option of pretty much all of our Marvel episodes when I said you could be on a Marvel one.
I think you gave me the option of either this one or like the X-Men one, I think.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I wonder what else. I don't know.
And I think I picked this one because like this is the one that I knew the least about.
Okay, cool. I thought I gave you Daredevil too. I might be wrong. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't remember. But yeah, like genuinely, like I cannot stress this enough. I have absolutely no idea what to expect from Planet Hulk. I know nothing about the story.
Nice. I will say, if you're familiar with like what the MCU has showed you with Planet Hulk, through like Thor Ragnarok, kind of throw most of that out.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of took just mostly the aesthetic of Planet Hulk, and even then, a lot of that wasn't translated properly. Pretty much you do know nothing about Planet Hulk, which is awesome. And I can't imagine Jacob does either. So
I know that there is Hulk in it, and
there's a Hulk in it.
There's a planet.
There's a planet.
Yes, you are correct about those two things. They are the two words of the title.
Yes.
So yeah, we're gonna see what that's all about next time. So that'll be fun. But in the meantime, let's plug some things.
Yes,
let's start. Mason, do you have anything to plug?
No, not really.
Cool.
I mean, my Twitter is at the GD256, as is like whatever my Blue Sky one is. I'm assuming they'll both be in the description of either the YouTuber or like the podcast thing. That's basically it. I don't really have anything going on like in terms of like public like either videos or anything. I'm just swamped with like college stuff right now, so it's hard to do stuff.
Totally fair. Jacob?
Well, as always, my blog, at the time you are listening to this, if it's just come out, my blog is continuing Star Trek, the original series. By the time this comes out, myself and Joey's video series with it will be 5 episodes into season 3 of the original series.
What is episode 5?
Yeah, I'm kind of vamping here. Is there truth in is there in truth no beauty? To be the last
okay.
One
that one's actually good.
That we did, as well as I do know because I'm at time of recording, I'm releasing it very soon. I have just finished reviewing the secret projects from Brandon Sanderson with the Sunlit Man. His last secret project. So with that, I have one more Sanderson novel that I am reviewing before I start to move on to other things. another big massive fantasy series, as well as I have begun my in-depth analysis of The Shadow Rising. Hopefully, the third of those should be up by the time this comes out. Some personal life stuff happened, and the schedule for that got thrown way off due to that. Also on YouTube, because it's happening, I am doing small little vlog discussions of the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Check that out. So when this is out, all three of those will be up. I hope the giggle is good. I have some reservations.
I mean, hey, I can do a real quick review of the giggle since by the time everyone's hearing it, it's out.
Sure, yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was honestly surprised with like how little cameos there were, but I do think the inclusion of like the guy from Robots of Death was pretty interesting.
What guy?
Oh, you know, the guy.
Okay, yeah.
But, like,
of course.
I thought Neil Patrick Harris was good. I kind of wish they kept him around like longer than just a few minutes, but I mean, I understand the need to like just get him out. I thought like the shooting him in the head with a Glock was a little strange, specifically because it felt very like different from what Doctor Who usually does. But I understand that RTD is trying to do like an anniversary, but also pushing it forward. But yeah, I do think that the choice also to have like 15 different David Tennants is weird, but you know, whatever. It's not my show.
You are a menace to society.
Thanks.
All right. Well, I guess on Blood Donut Studios, Jacob already mentioned, coinciding with his blog reviews. Me and my brother have been watching through Star Trek: The Original Series. That's all coming out. Keep in mind, of course, the Patreon that is up there. We have 2 tiers: one for just $1 for general support, and $4 for 1 week early access for our videos, which is actually half of what the original tier was for early access back on Coffee. So it's probably the best you're gonna get. And also, we have a ton of goals that you can find in the pin post on Patreon that hopefully we can fulfill someday. So yeah, be sure to check that out. And that's there. Other stuff, R2BD, I think, recently released its 2nd episode. If not, it's coming this week. We're recording this pretty far in advance. I don't know exactly when things are coming out, but it's there, hopefully, or maybe coming soon. One of those things. Breaking Brian is happening again, also because it's so far in advance. I'm not quite sure of the recording schedule, so either the newest episode is out or it's coming very soon. This is my promo corner, and it's not good.
Things are happening eventually.
Yeah, so and check out Fresh Face One Shots, because me and Jacob do those, and we've been talking about Superman by Joshua Williamson, and Brave and the Bold by Various, and Wonder Woman by Tom King, and those have all been great. And check those out.
I believe the next installments of those will be coming
this week, the week that this releases, at some point. So check those out when they're out. So. Yes.
And we may be adding a 4th series come the new year. We haven't decided
yet. It's possible. So yeah. All right. I think that about does it. Thank you all so much for watching. Of course, as always, I'll leave socials and everything linked in the description below. Mine, Jacob's, Mason's, etc. So yeah, thank you so much. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan.
And Jacob Licklider.
I'm also Mason. Fuck.
Goodbye.
I fucked it up. Bye.